Hi everybody, so we're over here filming at one of my favorite locations, right around the corner from one of my favorite properties, and as you can see why it's my favorite property. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today is 3 stages or the 3 opportunities to make money when you're flipping a property, okay? So the first one is, sounds pretty easy and common sense, you want to buy the property below market value, right? Well, what does that mean? It means that there's different strategies. Some people don't mind doing what's called a short sale. A short sale is when you're trying to convince the bank to take less money than what's owed on the debt. So for example, if the property has a $300,000 loan balance, you're trying to convince the bank to say maybe only take $200,000 on it, okay? I don't really advocate those too much, and there's nothing wrong with them. And for those of you who do them, that's fine, and I'm not casting any aspersions on you. But me personally, I don't care for them. Why? Because you're relying on some third party to dictate whether or not you're going to make any money. In other words, you can do all this work and find out later on that they didn't agree to it, and you're stuck with nothing. So me, stage 1 is, I like to know that as soon as I sign the contract and as soon as we close escrow, I immediately have guaranteed profit. And what do I mean by guaranteed profit? It means that if I choose to take that home, I can immediately wholesale it or I could sell it right there on the spot and make a profit without having to do any repairs other than maybe some minor cleaning or something, you know, like that, some trash out or things like that. But I'm immediately guaranteed money. That's the definition of buying a home at a good price, okay? There's so many deals out there. I advocate going for the deals that have the highest guarantee or the highest probability of making you a lot of money. And that's why I'm not really big on short sales now. There might have been a time that I was really big on them before, but that's how I feel about them now. Number 2, remodeling. Can't say enough about remodeling. Remodeling is very key. You don't just have the attitude like, okay, I'm gonna go remodel this place. No, you need to do your homework. You need to get on the computer and you need to see like the most recent 10 sales in that neighborhood. And you want to see what the lowest price one sold for, what the highest price sold for, okay? And you want to get in there. If you can't get, you should be able to nowadays with Realtor.com and, you know, Zillow and Redfin and all that. Take a look at the pictures. Get a really good idea, and if you have to drive the homes and see what they did, okay? It's really important that you gauge what it takes to maximize the value of that home. And at the same time, don't just look at what they did, look at days on the market. Because some people will over fix up a home, which you don't want to do either. And the way you'll know they did that sometimes is you'll see this really beautiful home that's been on the market forever. Why? Because they spent too much money on the home. And because they spent too much money on the home, they're stuck having to sell it for a certain price and it stays on the market forever, and that's not good. Because when a buyer sees a home been on the market for a long time, they're not going to offer you a high price. Okay? But on the other hand, you do want to fix a home really nice because studies show people buy emotionally, not logically. Okay? So emotionally, you want to capture those feelings or those emotions like, wow, I love this place. I love all the repairs and all the upgrades and the rich colors and how beautifully staged it is and all that, right? And some key issues is kitchens. Kitchens are really, really important. I really focus on kitchens. Studies show that you spend an overwhelming amount of time in the kitchen, okay? And kitchens obviously are important for cooking and things like that. Even if you're not a cook, you still appreciate the value of a nice kitchen. So that's one of the things you want to make sure that you do a good job on, is have a nice kitchen. And like I said, find balance. Do your studies, do your homework, and find balance. And whatever you do, don't underdo it, okay? It's not a good idea to ever go in there on a deal where your budget is so tight that you can't afford to spend much on the rehab. It's probably not a good situation. You want to be in a situation where the rehab is building value. In other words, it's making the home worth more, not allowing you to stay at a price range that you have to stay within because you're stuck because you didn't buy the home at a good enough price. So understand that relationship, okay? And finally, the third one is what I call the Joey special. And the Joey special is, I like to sell my properties, okay? I'm a licensed agent, I'm a licensed broker, and I'm very much involved. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and get a license. And another day, another video, we're gonna have a talk about the pros and cons of licenses. But all I'm saying is, look, We all know that marketing and salesmanship go a long way towards achieving a certain outcome and selling property and getting a good price, or actually in any service, right? No one's gonna sell that home and build it up like I am, you know? So when people call me, I make them feel like they're buying an absolute superstar of the home, and that they're not the only ones looking at the home, that there's plenty of other people looking at it. So I create a sense of urgency with them. And it's very common by me delineating all the items we did on the home. I explain to them, well, ma'am, not only does this house look good from the outside, you see the new paint, new carpet, but man, there's also things on the inside. We put in new insulation, we put in new plumbing, we put in new electrical. So I tell them, it looks just as good on the outside as it does on the inside, you know? And I say, well, do you have other offers? Well, I don't like to tell people I have other offers, right? Because that's a game of strategy. But sometimes, or most of the times, I'll tell them I have a lot of interest in the property. I received X amount of phone calls today, or this or that. I'm always building it up. And it's not uncommon for people to call me up and be like, well, hey Joe, you know, I know you got this property on the market for $620. Any chance the seller will take $580? I'm getting ready to write an offer for $580. I say, well, I never dissuade people from writing an offer. Get people to write them up, always. There's a certain amount of mental commitment that happens when somebody writes an offer. So even if you know it's gonna be a low offer, get them to write it, because they're emotionally committing themselves to the property. So that's one of like the big issues. So one of the big things that I like to do is I say, well, let me put it to you this way, ma'am. We just did a lot of repairs, a lot of upgrades. We put, you know, brand new custom countertops and custom stainless steel appliances and new wooden flooring and blah, 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 and new HVAC system, blah, blah, blah. I explained to them all the work we did. Say, so all I can say is I don't know how willing the seller's gonna be to entertain just a large discount, but we can try. And it's hilarious because guess what happens? The offer comes in 30, 40 grand higher than what they told me. Or sometimes I love to create a multiple counter offer situation. I love to get 4 or 5 people, and I love to create a bidding war. And I just sit back and I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do any more rehabbing. I don't have to do anything to create that value, and I'm able to increase the value of the property. So look, even if you don't want to be an agent, you don't have to be, right? And you don't want to field the phone calls, try to find a way to be involved. Perhaps work with another realtor you know, one that you can train. He's like, hey, I don't just want you to list the property, but I want you to command the best property and the best value, and incentivize them. Offer them. Say, hey, you know what? I'm trying to get this much for the property, but anything you get me over this price, I'll offer you this much. Because most people don't realize is that's the final cherry on top. It's when you're selling the home and you have that buyer, and you have that buyer on the phone or the buyer's agent, that's when you can really build value and really sell the heck out of the home. And I love doing that. I love giving everybody multiple counter offers and always creating a situation where there's like this hysteria where the agent communicates to the buyer, oh my God, a lot of people like this home, you're not the only ones. Look, I would say let's offer them this much and let's not lose it. Which little do they know, I probably would have taken the lower offer. But the point is, they don't want to play poker. They don't want to gamble. They want your home really bad if you fix it nice and they fell in love with it. So for that reason, try to be very proactive on the listing part. Don't just hire a realtor and don't just sit around and see what happens. Let them call you. As a matter of fact, maybe have your friends, uncle, cousins, neighbor, whatever, call that realtor and pretend to be a buyer and see how pumped that realtor is and see if that realtor is selling the heck out of your place. And if they're not, then I'm sorry to say this, it's time to look for someone else, because in the end, it's your money and you deserve to get as much as you can on your deals, okay? So hopefully that helps you guys out. We'll have more discussions over this. Other than that, I'm gonna go have some lunch. There's a nice restaurant over the pier over here, and I hope you guys have a nice day.